Good day, everybody. In this video, we're going to share a little bit about twin flames. What does it mean to go into sacred union? And how is that related to the event? How is that related to ascension? And what is the purpose, the actual purpose of twin flames, which is going into sacred union? Let's take a closer look at that in this video. I just wanted to mention, sorry that I haven't been so active in the last week. I've been dealing with my own twin flame and our karmic untangling, if you will, but now I am back and I am active as ever. So, twin flames. So to understand, we talked about this in an earlier video, so if you haven't seen it already, that'd be a great video to watch that I did about twin flames. And now I wanted to really go and understand what twin flames is at the smaller structure. So we know there's feminine and masculine, right? And even up to our DNA, there is a feminine and a masculine side, or positive and negative, or yin-yang electromagnetic charge, right? Dark, white, whichever word you want to use, it doesn't matter, it's all one and the same, okay? So in our DNA, you can see there are two polarities. In our power centers or chakra, each one is of a different polarity, a more feminine or a masculine, a yin or a yang. In our fingers, we have a more feminine or masculine energy that runs through each finger, each toe, each cell, each organ, up to atoms. Even our face, one side of our face, if we would take a mirror and check it out, we will see one side is more masculine, and if we do the other side, it's more feminine. Can you see that? Yeah. And this goes throughout our whole body, and it switches. The masculine and the feminine energy switch over, especially through our power centers, through each chakra, if you like. That energy switches. We know in holistic healing, the left side of our body in general is the feminine side. Our right side is our masculine side. This being our feminine side, our left side is our feminine side. Our left hand is for receiving. Our right hand is for giving. Our right hand is our feminine side. Our left hand is the masculine side, giving and receiving. And this polarity of feminine, masculine, yin, yang is within each cell. Each little part of our being is structured this way. Everything in our dimension, in nature, is structured this way. Even things that are unisex, even the plants that are unisex, there is still yin, yang, masculine, feminine, or electromagnetic sides to it. This is really a beautiful reality dimension of duality. And it's when this duality is not balanced within ourselves, within nature, within society, that we come across problems, right? That makes sense. So, just like if we look outside in the world, we've been living in a very dominant masculine world. And if we would be in a very dominant feminine world, I would say the same thing. It's unbalanced. And so now it's time to balance the two, the feminine and masculine. And we have to do this starting within ourselves. It's the only way. Starting to balance our feminine and masculine within us, within everything we do, within our daily lives, with our daily routine, the way we think, the way we breathe, everything. We even have a feminine and masculine nostril, breathing in different types of air, feminine and masculine eye. When you do eye gazing, you'll see a difference within people's eyes. And it's time to balance that. The only reason we see this unbalance in the world is because there's unbalance within ourselves. I know this very well. I grew up in a very masculine upbringing with my father. And so I've done a lot of balancing myself. in all of those areas, and it's continuous balancing and still fine-tuning all the way, right? So what does this relate to the twin flames? Well, to create this balance of duality, right? I've spoken about this in other videos. Is we're in the third dimension, and we want to balance out the third with the fourth dimension. So the third and the fourth dimension, at this moment in time, we're dancing. We are balancing those energies. If you will, you could see it like a high air pressure going to low air pressure, and it's balancing until it's equalized, right? That's what we're doing. 3D and 4 dimension is equal to the masculine and feminine. That's what we're doing right now. We're having this dance between the masculine and the feminine, between the conscious and the unconscious, between the light and the dark, between lies and truth. And you can see that. You can see that in the world stage, what's happening with politics. You can see that with feminine women, starting to speak up, starting to rise up. You can see, feminine activists, which might be going a little bit over the balance line, but that's also part of it, because once we go over the balance line, we start to notice where the balance line is, right? So that's what we're doing right now. The dance between the masculine and the feminine, the balancing. And once we hit the sweet spot, the sweet balance spot, that's when we can truly ascend. That's when we can rise up, not as masculine or as feminine, not as science and not as spirituality, not as conscious and unconscious, but as both of them working together evenly in harmony. Then we can rise up and ascend to the fifth dimension, or then we can go beyond the sexes. Yeah? So what has this got to do with the twin flames? Well, twin flames are unique people. Some people are not only twin flames, they also have, they may also be star seeds, and there may be many other aspects to them. And some people are only twin flames, some people are not. And there's no better or worse than. We are all part of this beautiful brick wall, and each brick is as important as the other. We're just all different and unique, right? So with the twin flames, they have a purpose, and I mentioned this before in the previous video. The purpose is not to have a family and to sit down and do that life. Some twin flames may also be able to do that on the side, but the sole first number one purpose is to come together in harmony, is to come together in sacred union. That is our purpose as twin flames, to find each other, create a space where we can hold sacred union. And what that does is it sets out a frequency, a healing energy, if you will. It sets out a frequency of the fifth dimension, because this is what we're all doing. On the smaller levels, as people, we're trying to balance out the masculine and feminine within. In the world, in the society, we're trying to do the same thing. And twin flames are plugged into higher dimensions, and thus they are able to be a vessel or a channel for the divine masculine and for the divine feminine to work through them, right? And so when they come into sacred union, that's a very strong frequency and resonance that they leave, and it's where we're heading to the fifth dimension. When they come together, it's divine masculine and feminine coming together, which creates a 0 point. We talked about the 0 point, that's here. When there is balance between the two, it creates right over here the perfect balance point at some point. And this creates the 0 point or creation point. And from there we can create many things. And that 0 point or creation point is the energy that we connect with when we go into sacred union with our twin flame partner. That is why it's so important for us to see our twin flame not at a humanoid level, not with the stories, he did or she did, or I'm jealous because he has another family, he hurt me. Yes, we have a lot of healing to do with our partner, and it's going to be some of the biggest and hardest healing. They're going to be our biggest mirror. We're going to have biggest karmic lessons and everything. But it would be beneficial if we understand that you guys came here, you guys have a contract, and you guys have a mission that goes beyond the humanoid story. Yeah, you guys have a mission. So even if you're bumping heads, and even if you're disliking each other at this moment in time, even if you drive each other crazy at this moment in time, it would be beneficial to know that you guys are kind of stuck together in a way. Even if you don't like your twin flame, you may really dislike the person that he is at this moment in time, but it's another part of you. So it'd be beneficial to know, even if at this moment in time you're not connected, that there will be another cycle of growth that you guys will do personally and then together and get closer and higher, and then you might come together and then you might break off again and go through drama and come back. But just to be open and aware about that, and not just try and be like, I never want to see you again, or I shut you totally out of my life. To know that there is higher powers at play here, and just because you guys can't figure it out at this moment in time, you can always be open to, in a year's time, in 6 months' time, there'll be a space or a place where we will share more and heal more. And for some of us, we just can't do that, and that's fine too. But the more twin flames that can come together right now to create sacred union, to create that frequency, that energy of the new earth, of the ascension of the fifth dimension, the faster and the easier it will be for us to head towards the event, head towards this changing point, and start to change the energies of the world. As we are healing that with our twin flame, we are affecting thousands others of the planet, and we are affecting the frequency of the earth. And it is affecting us as well, of course. So it's a really important mission. It's not high school drama, and it's not, your past relationship. It's bigger. So we talked about how each of us have a feminine and masculine side within each little small cell to bigger parts, the left side and the right side. And we have a feminine and the masculine twin flame. Just because the feminine, just because a female, if you have a female body, it doesn't mean that you're the feminine aspect. And just because you have the male body doesn't mean you're the masculine aspect. And when I say that, men don't be like, ooh, I'm not feminine. It's not about that. It's a different type of energy. But yeah, it can switch between the two at different moments in time. And just because you're masculine doesn't mean you hold that masculine energy, but you guys are two sides of the coin. At any given point in time, you will always be opposites or polarities, and the energies within you can switch. So one person can be magnetic, and then the other person can be magnetic. That's the other person's electro. But you'll never be the same, right? That's where that pull, that magnetic polarity pull comes from. So if you look on a level higher, through through our body, through our vessel, we can connect to the divine feminine and divine masculine that flows through us, yes? And on the higher dimensions, we are one. In the higher dimension, your twin flame and you are one person. You're one entity. You come from the same thing, right? On the higher levels, we are all one. On the highest of highest dimensions, we are not separate. We are all just, one point of singularity. And we breathe the same. We are the same. We're all one entity. But as we go down through all these different dimensions, we get more split up into separation, so that we can understand and experience different things. Now, all the way in the third dimension, where we are living right now, third, fourth, we're very separated, I am I, this is my body, etc. When you get to higher dimensions, there's not so much separation. And that might sound weird to some of you, but when you get to that level and that understanding and that love, there's nothing you're giving up. You're not giving up yourself. You're not losing yourself. Not at all. If anything, you're gaining so much more. And in the higher dimensions, our counterpart of our twin flame, we are one soul. We are part of the same soul being. And we are one person, one entity. And if you go rise up above to higher dimensions, we're just one conscious being. Everybody in the whole world, all beings in the multiverse, is just one conscious being. But we're down the ladder, and we are physically separated into two different entities, two different vessels, two different people, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that it's really important that we see our twin flame with so much love and with so much compassion and understanding for the bigger mission at hand. Once you guys can find that balance spot, you're changing the frequency of the earth as part of the mission of being a twin flame, and it's really important. And for the people, some people may have really hard karma and they just can't do it. Or some people may have their own information that that's not what they're supposed to do and they have a different type of contract. But in general speaking, that's what we're here for. So sacred union, what is sacred union? Like I said, it's when we balance ourselves to create 0 point and create. So sacred union doesn't particularly mean that it has to be through sacred sex. Doesn't have to. It can. In sacred union, we are in ceremony, in ritual. During the ceremony and ritual, we open our vessels. Well, first of all, we lay away the humanoid story and we open up our vessels ourselves to be a channel for the divine masculine and the divine feminine within us. So that when we are working together with our counterpart, we are only meeting each other from our higher selves. Our lower or more humanoid selves do not exist at that moment in time. Yes, and when we are going into sacred union, there are different rituals or ceremony or a moment how to engage or invoke those powers, if you will. But the important thing is that you will be connecting from all your 7 power centers. Some people like to call them chakras, which I'll do a video about, but all your power centers, and you're connecting from the heart. You've balanced out a lot of your karma, your feminine and masculine issues. So, within your partner, within your twin flame, anything that, for me, for example, I'm the feminine, he's the masculine, anything that he has not healed with the feminine, any ex-girlfriend or stories like, oh, a woman always leave me, or issues with his mother, etc., I will be a picture of that. You wouldn't be conscious about it, but I am the replica of the divine feminine that has hurt him all his life. And that's why there's so much difficulty, and vice versa. He will be the representation of the divine masculine that has hurt me all my life. Different boyfriends, my father, all those stories that are not healed will shine through him. And thus, that's why these interactions with our twin flame is so difficult. And that's why it's so important to do our own homework, our work, with healing all past wounds of the masculine and the feminine, all our past wounds and our different stories with family, etc. And each time we do this solo time apart from, away from our twin flame, the next time we see them, we can see them and understand them better. Next time we see them, it will not be the same because we've been doing that inner work. Now, if we haven't been doing that inner work and healing all these stories of, past lovers and different issues, then it will be the same. So that's really important to know. It's really important to know that what he or she is reflecting to us is just reflecting the stuff that we haven't dealt with within ourselves. So, when you come together, it's really good to have like a pen, notepad. Oh, gotta deal with that. Gotta deal with that. Ooh, oh, geez, I still gotta. I thought I healed that, but apparently not that much. So it's like coming together and knowing what to heal. Okay, ciao. I'll see you in the next cycle whenever we're ready to meet each other again. I got homework to do. I got a whole long, to-do list right now. And that's the power of this connecting with your twin flame and seeing it from a different light, from a higher light, not from the humanoid level. It's a celestial connection. It's a higher connection. So sacred union. Coming together in sacred union doesn't have to be through sex. It can be through sex. There are different sexual rituals that can be done where you are invoking the divine feminine and masculine, creating that 0 point. When we are going into sacred union, and it might be that it'll take a lot of practice between the two, depending who you are and how much experience you both have with meditation and other things. There will always be one counterpart that isn't as, let's say, spiritual or than the other. One will be more in the material world, and one more in the science world, and one more in the spiritual, and that's really beautiful. So it may take different connecting exercises, different meditations, different things you do together to start connecting your energies. And it starts by just meditating together, doing yoga together, doing different energetical exercises or activities together to start to get to know that and start to balance. And when we get to a point where we can start to engage in sacred unions, and that could also be a few times of testing and learning. But once you get to the real point of sacred union, the real moment, it is important that the intention or the prayer, if you will, or the magic you want to create with that sacred union, with that 0 point that you create together, it is important that it is for a higher purpose. It is for the balancing of the world. It is important because we come to the 0 point creation point. Now, if we come together at this amazing 0 point creation point, we have all this power harness between the divine masculine and divine feminine, and we're harnessing this energy together, and then we're like, and that's it. Now we're just gonna, relax. That was it. What a waste of that energy you just created. So we want to use that energy and transmute it, transform it into something. Use that energy, that nucleus, that magic, that electromagnetic field you just created in between each other and bring it to a higher purpose. Now, the purpose of the twin flame, again, is to emanate the frequency of where we're going to, our ascension, what we're working towards. And to do that, we need to bring intention to this energy that we create together. And the intention is to the highest and greatest good for all beings, for the universe, for the multiverse, for the world, for the balance between the masculine and the feminine within each cell, within each atom, with each person, and DNA, the world, the sun, everything. So we're not bringing action into our creation, into our sacred union. We're not bringing it towards something. We're not fully engaging in sacred union. If you will, the masculine and the feminine, when we come together like that, we are a key and a lock. And once we key and lock it perfectly, there's a click, there's a moment that everything just balances and we have this creation point. And now, if we just leave it to that and then take the key out and everything, then wow, we went through all that work to do nothing. But if we actually open the door, once we hit that point, to allow a new opportunity to come in, now we're making use of it. Right? Now we're giving it power. Now there's a reason why we did that. You know? Yeah. Sacred union is just the stepping stone. It's just a stepping stone of coming together, and then we harness the power to create, to manifest, to create all of our reality, to manifest our reality, and to help the collective consciousness, the collective, to feel that resonance, feel that frequency. As we're doing this information, this moment in time, this frequency gets, how should I say, recorded in the collective consciousness. And the more, imagine, 200 twin flames going to the sacred union. That information is being recorded like in a hard drive into the collective consciousness, into that every person, whether conscious or unconscious of it, is plugged into. And now they have that ability to access that frequency, or even that information, or even that experience, right? And that's what we're doing it for. And if all twin flames could at some point go into sacred union, that would be super powerful. If that could happen tomorrow, wow, we would be flung forward into ascension, into a heart space world, and a more balanced world very, very quickly. So I'm sharing these videos, we're sharing these videos. I've been given this information to share because a lot of people online are talking about twin flames like it's some love affair, and it's bigger than that. And I personally know a lot of people who are twin flames, and they're like, oh, I'm done with him, I don't want to contact him. But we need to step out of ourselves. If you're watching this, you know you came here to help with the change. We're not here to just do nothing and just enjoy. We came here for a purpose. And if you're here as a twin flame, there's a purpose between that. So let's step out of our little melodramas and look at the bigger picture. And that's easier said than done, because there's so much pain and so much healing that needs to be done from many timelines, as well as this timeline. But yeah. But even just by knowing and by having that intention there that you see the bigger picture, then it will suddenly be easier. So this was kind of hard to explain for me, so I hope the information came across well. And I'm sending you a lot of love today, and I'm excited to be back and active. Have a wonderful day.